a no wrong door approach.
And so this is for all the branches as well.
Correct. The Service Member Civil Relief Deck, also known as the SCRA.
Your favorite resources that you can provide.
Education, number one, and employment, because essentially they go hand in hand.
Thank you for joining me on Kitchen Spoons and Combat Boots. I'm Jessie Smith, the State Soldier and Family Readiness Group Leader. I'm joined today by Susan Demers, the Transition Assistance Advisor. So I feel like the Transition Assistance Program that you have is very little known. Most of the time when you give a briefing, afterwards, there's service members talking to me about how you have so much information and resources and they didn't even know you existed. So I think that's really important because you really do have a ton of benefits out there. You know, I've heard you joke about how you're a search engine for benefits, using appropriate verbiage there.
Yes.
So one important thing that you point out is that you're not TAP. Can you talk a little bit about the differences between your program and TAP?
Of course. So TAP is meant for service members that are transitioning completely out of the military or active duty. I help service members while they're currently in the process of transitioning out, and well after they've been out. Typically, they say you qualify for my services if you have at least 180 days on Title X orders. However, I'm here to help service members regardless of their eligibility.
So literally it's for any transition.
Correct. Because your whole life is full of transitions, right? You want to get a new job. That's a transition. You have a baby. That's a transition. You're in the process of trying to buy a home. That's a transition. And I'm here to make those transitions as easy and stress-free as possible.
Perfect. So who can use you though?
Anyone. The answer is anyone. Spouses can utilize my services. Children, dependents can utilize my services. Service members, veterans, a Vietnam vet, if they have questions. They never put in a VA disability claim. I can get them connected with a veteran service officer or a VSO. If it's something that's not in my purview, I can also reach out to VVO, or if they're currently in the service and they need additional assistance, and I can utilize the MIFers, because we all work hand in hand. Our main goal all around is to help the service member and veteran, regardless of whichever program that they go to. It's a no wrong door approach.
And so this is for all the branches as well.
Correct.
Awesome. What are some of your favorite resources that you can provide?
Education is my number one, and employment, because essentially they go hand in hand. So with education, I definitely let people know about the post 9/11 GI Bill, which they should have access to as long as they've had active duty time. And I tell them to go onto the va.gov site, because MilConnect isn't always updated. And it's really only meant to transfer the benefits over to a dependent. Fun fact, if you want to transfer your education benefits, you need to have 4 years left on your contract to do so.
I just extended for that purpose.
And if they have 100%, and they want to go to a specific college, I let them know about the Yellow Ribbon School program. So as much as we wish the post 9/11 GI Bill covered everything, unfortunately it doesn't. And Yellow Ribbon Schools are there to help cover the difference of whatever the GI Bill isn't going to cover. So they could go to a maximum Yellow Ribbon School that will cover pretty much the entirety of their education with little to no out-of-pocket costs. I'm not saying there isn't going to be any out-of-pocket costs, because there could be. Or they will cover a certain monetary amount per eligible student, and it can be degree dependent. But if they would like to know more about that, they can always reach out to me, and I can send them the direct link to look for a specific school.
Awesome. So I know that we have talked about this a little bit, but I feel like the Service Member Civil Relief Act, am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
Did I get it all? That is something that actually not a lot of our service members are familiar with.
Correct. Or they know about it after the fact.
Right. And can you use it retroactively?
You can for a year, which I just learned. So the Service Member Civil Relief Act, also known as the SCRA, you contact your debitors if you're getting ready to mobilize. So if you have a car lease that you need to get out of, you can get out of it without any penalty. Same with an apartment. If you have student loans or a mortgage that's over 6%, same with any credit cards, you contact them. They will lower your interest rate down to 6%. Unfortunately, it won't be any lower than 6%, but 6% is pretty good. And you will have to show them your orders. Mm-hmm. However, you need to black out any
PII. Yeah.
Right. But most of the time, if you tell them like, hey, I'm mobilizing on this date to this date, they'll be like, okay. But a lot of student loan
lenders,
thank you, they will automatically know, and they'll automatically do it for you.
Nice. What are some other programs that you have that you feel are underutilized?
So, Boots to Business. If you're interested in starting your own business, it's a online cohort, essentially, where it's 2 days. It really breaks down on how you want to start your own business and what you need to know to start your own business. There's also the Veteran Business Outreach Centers, which partner with Boots to Business. They will sit with you and go step by step on a business plan, help you fill out applications for grants to start your own business. And they're located in Montpelier. Boots to Business used to have a in-person class, but with everything going on, they kind of cut that back, and now it's all online. There's 3 hours for 2 days. I've been through it. I think it was great. I used to own my own business years ago, so if I knew about that then, I would have done things a little bit differently. There's also Onward to Opportunity, which I learned about last year when I went to the Innovations Conference with the Governor's Challenge, where it's for transitioning service members and their spouses. So they will pay for one certification course, and it's all online because we don't have a major military installation in Vermont.
Right.
So you have a year to complete it, and they will then help you find employment in that certification afterwards. And it's free.
Which is a huge plus.
Yes, and it's based on your own schedule. So you have a year to complete it, and if you only have a couple hours at night, do it a couple hours at night. But the great thing is it's not only open to the service member, but for the spouse as well.
So you brought up Governor's Challenge.
Yes, I did.
Being as how I'm a teammate on that with you, I would love it if you could go a little more in depth and pretend I don't know anything about it.
Sure. So the Governor's Challenge is an initiative that's in all 50 states and U.S. territories to help prevent veteran and service member suicide. And it's not just geared towards mental health. There's a whole bunch of different reasons. There's financial health, there's career, there's employment, anything like that, any kind of stressors. We want to help alleviate those and give resources, which is one of the reasons why I brought up Onward to Opportunity.
Right.
Because that will help promote employment and get them out of that rut, if that makes sense. And there's different things that we're trying to change within the Governor's Challenge for the state of Vermont service members and veterans.
Yeah. So one term that I had never heard or acronym really, prior to working with Governor's Challenge was SMVF.
Yes.
So I think it's really important, since that is like the acronym that they're using for this group, to clarify that is service member and veteran families, and it groups the service members and their family members in as this group that they're trying to help. Because for me, I was like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
And now that I'm like, that's great. But I think it's like we need to find a way to highlight that, because otherwise people aren't going to know that this is for them.
Correct. And one of the things that when I first started on the Governor's Challenge, when they were saying, someone goes to the hospital, are you a veteran? Like, you need to change that, because they may be a veteran, but in their eyes, they don't consider themselves one.
Right.
So I suggested you need to ask them if they've ever served.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we've changed.
Well, especially since the definition of veteran seems to vary.
Correct.
On different programs, places, etc. So like even the VA home loan, like you're eligible for that if you've served in the National Guard for 6 years or done
6 good years.
6 good years, exactly. But that's not the definition of veteran in other cases.
Correct.
So it's, I absolutely agree with you. Like asking if someone's ever served or if they have a family member who's served.
Correct.
Is definitely going to close that net up a little bit better. Are there any other programs that you feel like you really want to highlight for us?
If they're ready to retire, I recommend they come see me 4 years before their retirement, because I have a retirement checklist that starts 4 years before retirement and goes to 60 days after retirement. And the reason why I do 4 years is because of the education benefits. Because there are some people, actually the majority of people, they are not aware that they need to have 4 years left on their contract. And then when I tell them, they're like, I only have 2 years left.
And they don't want to add more.
Correct.
Right.
So I'm like, well, if you can use them,
Right.
but you can't transfer them.
Right.
And I know that they changed some things on the post 9/11 GI Bill, that if you get out after your last date of active duty after February 1 of 2023, it doesn't expire. So it's a quote unquote forever GI Bill.
That's pretty neat.
But different than the GI Bill if you have a Purple Heart.
So when you say retirement, you mean AGR or M-Day?
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep. Because on my checklist, it dictates on certain programs that are meant only for active duty, like DoD Skill Bridge is only meant for active duty.
Right.
Or AGR. And that's where Onward to Opportunity comes in, because it's open to not only M days, but also AGR as well.
Yeah.
And even if you've been out for 15 years, you're like, yeah, I want to get a new certification. You are eligible for it. You do have to apply, but you would be eligible to apply.
So if anyone had any questions about benefits, or even if they just have a random, I wonder if there's a benefit about this thing, they could contact you.
Absolutely. So my number is 802-585-8164. That is my cell phone. I'm also in GMA B133 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I can be reached any day and I can travel.
Well, thank you for joining me, Susan. It was a pleasure as always.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. Please tune in next month when I sit down with Command Sergeant Major Contos to discuss mentorship and retirement. Check out our social media for upcoming events. The links are in the video description.
For more information or support, please reach out to the Vermont Military Family Support Center's toll-free number, 888-607-8773.
The preceding content does not constitute endorsement by the Department of the U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, Vermont National Guard, or Vermont Military Family Programs of the organization's products and services contained therein. Further, the Vermont Military Family Programs assumes no responsibility for the consequences of using the products or services provided by the organizations or resources listed. Vermont Military Family Programs makes every effort to present our clients with reputable resources. We cannot guarantee the validity of said resources, and the use of such resources is voluntary.